Okay, let's dive in. You're maybe looking for a Linux setup that's just, well, blazing fast.
Something that looks amazing too.
Exactly. And gives you total control, right?
Yeah.
Today, we're tackling exactly that. Installing Arch Linux with the Hyprland Wayland compositor.
And we're using the official Arch install script to make it happen. It's our guide for this expedition.
Yeah, it smooths the path quite a bit.
And this combination, it really seems to resonate with a few specific groups of users out there.
Like who?
Well, you've got the ricer, right?
Mm.
The person who loves customizing every little detail, getting those aesthetics just perfect with their .files.
Okay, so picture this. You've booted the Arch ISO. You're at that command prompt. What's next?
It's actually super simple at this point.
Just type arch install, hit enter.
That's it. Couldn't be easier to launch the installer.
And boom, you get this menu.
Right. And understand this menu is, well, key. It might look like a lot of choices at first glance.
It can seem that way.
But it's actually a very logical sequence.
Let's break it down then. First up, language. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, just the language for the installer itself. English, US is usually the default. Most folks will probably stick with that.
But pick what works for you. Then, right after, keyboard layout. This one's important.
Crucial, actually. You need to tell the system how your keyboard is arranged. Default is US for QWERTY.
But if you're using AZRD or Dvorak or something else...
You have to select it here. Otherwise, typing is going to be frustrating.
Very true. Next, mirror region.
This one's all about speed.
How so?
This determines which servers your system downloads all the software packages from. You really want to pick a location geographically close to you.
Like choosing the nearest download server, basically?
Exactly. Makes a big difference in how long the install takes. Faster downloads.
Okay, makes sense. Now, disk configuration. This sometimes feels like the tricky bit.
Yeah, people sometimes get a bit nervous here, but Arch install helps a lot. You can go manual if you have specific needs.
Like complex partitioning schemes.
Right. Or you can just let the script handle it automatically, which is great for many users.
You still need to pick the drive, though. Your SSD or hard drive.
Correct. And you use a file system.
Hmm?
XT4 is like the old, reliable, solid, compatible.
But BTRFs? It's got some cool features, right?
Oh, yeah. BTRS offers things like built-in snapshots, which can be amazing for rolling back changes if an update goes wrong or you mess up a config.
Especially useful if you're tinkering a lot.
Definitely. And then there's encryption.
Okay, serious FaceTime. Especially if this is for a laptop.
Strongly consider encryption. Just do it.
It's the best way to protect your data if that laptop, walks away.
Such a critical point. That extra setup step worth its weight in gold if something happens.
Totally agree. Okay, moving on. Bootloader.
Arch install usually defaults to system to boot here.
Which is different from GRUB, maybe.
Yeah, GRUB is maybe more feature-rich, but also potentially more complex. System to boot is simpler, and it integrates really neatly with Systemed, which Arch uses.
So it's a good fit for Arch.
Often faster and simpler for standard setups, yeah.
All right, swap. What's the deal with swap space?
Think of it as like overflow parking for your computer's RAM.
Short-term memory, yeah.
Right. If you run out of actual RAM, the system can move less used stuff to the swap space on your drive.
So how much do you need?
Well, on modern systems with decent RAM, say 8 gigs or more, maybe 2 to 4 gigabytes of swap is usually fine.
Okay.
But if you want to use hibernation...
Where it saves everything to disk and powers off.
Exactly. To resume right where you left off. Then your swap space ideally needs to be at least as large as your total RAM.
Good distinction. Okay, host name.
Simple one. Just the name for your computer on the network. What shows up in your terminal prompt.
Makes sense. Then root password and user account. This sounds important.
Very. Set a strong password for root. That's the super admin account.
Full control. Needs to be secure.
Absolutely. And then create your regular user account for daily stuff.
Hmm.
And definitely check the box to give that user pseudo privileges.
So you can run admin commands without logging in as root all the time.
Precisely. Much safer day to day.
Okay, now, the really cool part for us today. Profile.
Ah, yes, the magic button.
You navigate to desktop, then you pick Hyprland.
And this tells Arch install, hey, set me up with the Hyprland environment.
It automatically pulls in everything needed for Hyprland. Seriously, this saves so much time compared to doing it all manually.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Manually setting up Hyprland, especially as a Wayland compositor with all its dependencies, it can be quite involved. This profile option is a massive shortcut.
Huge convenience for getting into Hyprland quickly. Then we have kernel.
You'll see a few options. Standard, LTS, long-term support, maybe hardened.
What's the recommendation?
Honestly, for most people, especially starting out with Arch or Hyprland, Just stick with the default kernel.
Unless you have a very specific need for something else.
Exactly. Don't overcomplicate it unless you know why you need to.
Got it. Additional packages. This looks handy.
It is. It lets you pre-select extra software you know you'll want right away.
Like a NeoVim or Firefox.
Yeah, or Git for version control, things like that. It just saves you installing them immediately after the main install finishes.
Nice touch. And thinking about Pacman later, you can even script installing groups of packages too, right?
Exactly. As you get more comfortable, you can automate installing your favorite tool sets. Real time saver.
Cool. Network configuration. Choices here.
Usually network manager, system networked, or skipping network setup.
Which one for most people?
For general use, especially with Wi-Fi, network manager is probably the easiest, most user-friendly choice to get online.
Okay, network manager it is, usually. What about audio?
Good news here. Arch install will likely default to Pipewire.
And Pipewire is the modern way to handle audio and video.
Yep, it's the standard now. Works great with Wayland, works great with Hyprland. It's what you want.
Perfect. Then time zone, locale, and NTP. Seems straightforward.
Pretty much. Set your correct geographical time zone for the clock. Choose your locale like NUS.UTF-8 for US English for language and regional formats.
NTP.
Definitely enable NTP network time protocol. It syncs your clock automatically with internet time servers. Keeps it accurate.
Right. Keeps everything in sync. Good.
And then finally, after checking all those choices,
You scroll down to the bottom.
and hit install.
The moment of truth.
That's when the script takes over and builds your system based on everything you just configured.
So you hit install. What's actually happening now?
Well, Arch install gets to work. First, it partitions your drive according to your choices,
Sets up the file systems.
right? Then it downloads and installs the minimal Arch Linux-based system, the Core OS.
And because we chose that Hyprland profile?
It then pulls down Hyprland itself, plus all the supporting packages needed for that desktop environment, and any of those extra packages you added.
How long does this usually take?
Depends a bit on your internet speed, of course, but typically maybe 5 to 10 minutes, perhaps a bit longer if the connection is slow. It's downloading quite a bit.
Not too bad, really. Now let's talk about some interesting facts about what's just happened. Arch Linux. It's a rolling release, right?
Correct. Big difference from, say, Ubuntu or Fedora releases. No massive version upgrades every 6 months or year that might need a reinstall.
You just keep updating.
Yeah, you continuously update your packages, sudo pacman-shu. You're always running pretty close to the latest versions of software.
And Arch install itself, it's not giving you a bloated, pre-made desktop, is it?
Not at all. It installs that lean-based system and configures only what you asked for. That's the Arch philosophy. User control. You decide what's on your machine.
Which is perfect for minimalists. No unwanted stuff.
Exactly. Gold for minimalists. And even though Hyprland comes with some defaults,
Sensible defaults to get started.
right. But the expectation, especially in the Arch community, is that you're going to customize it heavily.
That's the whole ricing thing again. Making it your own.
Tweaking the config files, the appearance, the key bindings, crafting your perfect workflow and look.
And if you hit a snag or just want to learn more,
The Arch Wiki, period. It's legendary for a reason. Incredibly comprehensive, accurate, well-maintained documentation. Probably the best Linux wiki out there.
good to know. What if the install itself has an issue?
Don't panic. Check the logs. varlog archinstall.log usually gives you clues about what went wrong.
And the package manager, Pacman?
Pacman. It's known for being really fast and efficient.
We mentioned scripting earlier, too.
Yeah, it's very scriptable, which power users love for automating updates or setups.
Useful tip during install.
Yeah.
You can switch terminals, right?
Oh, yeah. Control plus Alt plus F2 takes you to another text console. You can poke around, check logs live. Control plus Alt plus F1 gets you back to the installer.
Handy.
Then there's the power user demanding just peak performance, total system control, and, of course, the minimalist. Someone who just wants a system that's lean, no bloat, purely functional.
Makes sense.
Honestly, though, even if you're just curious about what a really streamlined Linux setup feels like, this deep dive is probably for you too.
Absolutely. So our goal today really is to demystify this process. Customization.
This is where you dive into those Hyprland config files, your dot files. Start tweaking themes, key bindings, behaviors,
Making it truly your system.
shaping it to fit your workflow, your aesthetics. It's a journey of personalization.
So as you look at that fresh login screen, maybe think about this. You've just set up a base for ongoing exploration.
It's a continuous process, learning Arch, learning Hyprland, refining your setup.
The possibilities for tailoring your computing experience are, well, pretty vast. What are you going to build with it? What will your setup look like?
Endless possibilities.
So the installation finishes.
You'll see that installation complete message. Feels good.
What do you do then?
Usually, it prompts you to reboot. So you type exit to leave the installer environment, then just type reboot.
And after the reboot?
That's the exciting part. You should be greeted by the LY Display Manager. It's a lightweight graphical login screen.
And it should be ready for Hyprland.
Yep, it should have the option right there to log in to your brand new Hyprland session.
And really, this is just the beginning, isn't it?
Absolutely. This isn't like installing a distro that comes with everything pre-configured, every app imaginable.
It's a clean slate.
Exactly. A super lean, super fast Arch base running the very slick Hyprland compositor. It's your foundation.
Now the real fun starts.